Igama lam ngubongekile Olose. Yeah, this is something different. This is something new. I don't usually do this. I talk about music videos, music videos, the directors of the music videos. Um, that's what I talk about most of the time when I come here. So yeah, I'm going to talk about myself. Which is something that I don't usually do. Um, but I mean, it's Women's Month, and I thought to myself, you know what, I want to talk about me and my journey of being a young woman and how it's been like so far. Talk about girlhood into adulthood and just womanhood generally. And I don't think I'll be able to kind of squash my life in one video. I don't know if I want to make this a series. Like I've got no solid plan, kahle kahle, but we'll keep it moving, right? We'll just talk about what we can talk about. But I just wanted to talk about myself just a little bit. Um so yeah, I think this was inspired by the fact that I'm a new mom. I have a baby, and they recently turned 1, and um, I wanted to talk about that, the pregnancy journey and the motherhood journey, but that's quite recent. And I've been existing way before my baby came along, and I thought, why not just talk about my entire life and not just restrict this to my baby's existence, right? And yeah, yeah. Ndingubongekile Olose. I'm currently 25 years of age and I'll be turning 26. The reason I mentioned the age thing is because um, I try to go against the whole ageism thing in women. I don't think it's a big deal if a man says they're 35, but it's somewhat a big deal when a woman says she's 35, because now you wanna all of a sudden make her feel like, oh my god, you're prettier, or like you're younger than your age, or you sound so young, or you don't look like your age. And I don't see why there's anything wrong with looking like your age. Um and I know the whole thing of sendiqalile ke ngoku uleqa, I'm within now. I know the whole thing of like, you know, if you're trying to last in your career or whatever, don't expose your age because of opportunities and everything. But that's the reality. That's my life. That's that. I've lived on this planet for 25 years and it's going to 26 years. Yes, my baby and I, we share a month, and we're in Women's Month. So I guess that's what kind of like sparked all of this, right? So, uh, yeah, Ndingubongekile Olose, there's nothing exceptional about me, guys. Now, I'm just literally your ordinary girl. I'm like your girl from next door. Um, I'm like your. I know there's a whole negative connotation now regarding saying you're a girl's girl or whatever. But yeah, I do have a passion, a certain passion when it comes to the ladies. Um, I guess maybe that would then kind of explain why I am a feminist. Yes, and yeah, but that's that. So I grew up in Joburg for most of it. Um, I grew up kind of like almost everywhere in Joburg. I grew up moving around a lot. Um, I think that kind of like made me grow up to long for stability. Like right now for me, success looks like having my own house. Um, like when kids are like, "Oh, my parents have been married for 25 years," and Mzekelo, right? My parents have been married for 25 years. I'm 10 years, and my whole life I grew up in this house. And it's like, your whole life you grew up in one house, girl, child, right? So that's that. I think, no, not I think, I want that for myself and for my young one now, like stability. That I think that's what success looks like for me. Having a house. Like if I have a house and a house where I want it, in a space that is convenient for me to do life wherever I need to do life in the way that I want to do life, girl child, we have won in life, right? So that's pretty much that. I went to a daycare in the south. I went to a primary school in the south. I went to a high school in the south. Um, that's pretty much it. I studied in Braamfontein. I studied professional acting for camera, right? So just for others, because that may be long. Sometimes I just say, guys, I studied drama or I studied acting or the performing arts, just so people understand, because we were trained for both acting for camera as well as um, theater, right? Um, yeah, that is also something that I really got into, and like I'm happy I got into it because that was not the plan. I actually wanted to study music. And now I'm looking at these music notes. I'm like, I saw Zundazaka. Absolutely no way. Let me just sing. Let me just sing. You guys will handle the notes. But I mean, I guess they are essential in because musicians do need to communicate the things that they do need to communicate, right? So it is important. I'm not downplaying the importance of training for something that you really love, but I'm happy things played out the way they did play out. So yeah, that's that. Um, I worked in a hospitality industry, and then after that, shortly after that, I had my baby, and then after that, I worked in two companies, right? They're separate companies, but they're sister companies. And it was sales, and yeah, like it just confirmed what I've always known, that sales are not my thing. I really can't convince people for the life of me. Like, why do I need to convince you? Why? Either you want something or you don't want it. But anyway, that's that. That's pretty much it. I really like to think of myself as someone who is multifaceted, someone who I always say I've got a broad personality, and I feel like when I think of all my different friends or the people that I engage with, I think they would all have something different to say about me as to how they met me. And it's not because I'm fake or but I think I really, my personality is broad, man. Like I don't know how to explain it. I think just saying I've got a broad personality just explains all of that. Yeah, I think I think I'm a fun person to be around sometimes. I don't know. I've got a lot to say when it comes to music. I've got a lot to say when it comes to the arts. I've got a lot to say when it comes to life. I've got a lot to say when it comes to relationships. I've got a lot to say when it comes to politics. I think I'm just generally someone that you can engage with. I don't always know everything, and I'm not necessarily interested in everything. There are things that I'm just like I really couldn't care less about, but I'll still hear you out. I'll still listen to you, right? So yeah, that's that. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna try to break things down about just how being a human being, because I think also before I am a woman, I am a human being. So it's not gonna just. I think in as much as I was inspired by like Women's Month, I just really want to talk. And I'm a human being and I am a woman. Saying woman sounds very formal and serious, but I am a woman, a young one at that. And I am a young mother. I am an aspiring professional artist because I am an artist, but professional. I'm aspiring to be a professional in that I want to be paid for what I bring, what I offer, my creative thoughts, um, my intellectual property, you know. So yes, that's that. I think I have described myself okay in like what, 9 minutes 55 seconds. So yeah, that's that. Um, So yeah, what being a woman means to me. Does that make English sense? What being a woman means to me in like spiritually. So I come from a very staunch Christian household. Yes, all the way, guys. Right. And um I think growing up, I'm grateful for the time I turned 18, 19, because like there was a shift that happened. But before that, I used to be afraid of my mom more than I was afraid of God. I used to be afraid of what my family thought of me more than I was afraid of God. I used to be afraid of the church more than I was afraid of God. Um, because I think, there's a whole lot of, in order for you to be validated, or, like you just need to be, like, there's some sense of performance you need to do. Um, if you're not praying in a certain way, you're not saved enough, or if you're not talking in a certain way, if you're not dressing in a certain way, if you're not sounding like a certain way. And I think being a woman also, uh, especially from the kind of church I come from, I'm not going to call it out by name, but it's one of those kind of like backward churches. So, why like, I can like you broke with her. Um, you can't quite really express yourself. Um, so I remember in the church for most of it. Don't get me wrong, guys. Yes, ndiyamthanda. I need that to be very clear. Yes, ndiyamthanda, and I love the fact that I am saved. You know. However, like I did mention earlier, that I feel like there was a shift that happened in high school, after high school, where I feel like I kind of connected with God in a way that was like, that had absolutely nothing to do with the church. And this may sound wrong, but even with my family or my mom, kind of like detaching all of those people and just looking straight to God. And um I'm very grateful for imfundiso. I'm very grateful for the grounding. I think another thing is I'm a very grounded person by nature. I can be but don't let that deceive you. I am very, very grounded, and I really love that about myself. And you know, so I am grateful. It's just that I feel like I personally do not have a connection with that church. Simply because it's the church I was raised in. I didn't choose it, and also because it doesn't align with uyesu lo endimkhonzayo, you know, and also maybe just aligning with how I desire to serve God, you know. Um, I don't know if that makes sense, but yes, that's that. And yeah, I'm on a, like, currently I am in search of a new church. But obviously also that's not easy because what's in I discernment. But yeah, much love, Vixus. But yeah, the spirit of discernment is a big thing, because did I lock the door? Yes, the spirit of discernment is going to be really important, because I don't want to and from Kwanzaa go in jail for the sake of Kwanzaa. It has to be a fully centered, Christ-centered church. Uyesu moya engcwele, Thixo uyise, Thixo unyana, Thixo moya engcwele, that. Um yeah, the message has to be across, and that's that. So I feel like um I do not believe in a God that does not want to see women succeed. I do not believe in a God that does not want to see women flourish. I do not believe in a God that does not want women to be beautiful, and want women to be expressive. There are so many things that we've normalized, and I don't know ba zisukapi, and I just do not believe, like, I used to have I used to grapple with this thought so much being in the church where, you know, I'm just like, when you've got a lot to offer, ne? And there's more to you. Like you have so much life in you, and you're just being pruned. Yeah, behave like this, act like this, don't. And it's like, why can't like I think my biggest battle was, why would God create me to be like this and then I must be edited? Like, why do I need to be edited? Why do I need to laugh a certain way? Why must I be seen and not heard? Why must I dress in a certain way? Oh brother, like, why is it me? Like, why must I be edited? I used to battle a lot with that, but like, I feel like with women in the church, there's a whole lot of editing that you are going through, and I guys, absolutely, like, there's no way God would create me to be a certain way. Then I need to go through some edits. And don't get me wrong, I am a big believer of, yes, let's share life stories, masakane spiritually, masakane as abafazi. Yes, at home we're taught manners, we're taught, oh please and thank you. I honestly don't have a problem with us giving each other the basic, we must know the basic things, like, how do I go on about life? How do I sustain myself? How do I treat the next person with dignity and respect? You know, I don't mind those things, but don't make me feel like there's something wrong with me that I need to fix in order for me to be acceptable. Oh, yes, we're gonna have a big problem, a very, very big problem. So, yeah, before my varsity days, I don't know what to call it, but I went through a thing where I was like, I don't want to call it a rebellion. And I mean, there's so many words that are flying around right now. People are using words like awakening and all of that. And honestly, I don't, I don't want to use words loosely, but I came out of caring. Like, it was a matter of, it was as though I had shut everything and everyone out. Um, and now I'm at a place where, I mean, like I said, I love prayer, but I feel like prayer is not restricted to oh, it was I believe that when I journal, when I write things down and I say Tito, man, that is a prayer. When I declare ngomlomo, because you know, as high as a man thinks of himself, so are they, you know. I train myself to think right, to say the right things, you know. Yes, I do make time to pray. When there's no time, I make time, because we don't always have the luxury of having my me time, being in the room. So there was a lot of unlearning that I did. I am. I sometimes feel like I'm probably not church material, like, because also I know how I talk about the church that I'm in, or the church that I was raised in, because I really don't identify with it anymore. The church that I was raised in is not the one for me. I think another fear is like trying to find another church only to find that maybe I'm not church material, because um I'm too complex of a human being. Um do I believe in Jesus? Yes. Do I read the Bible? Do I pray? Um and I definitely am going to raise my baby in that way. You know, Jesus is the answer for the world today. I just do not feel like I fit in the structure of a church. Um, yeah, I think that's just one of the things that I'm currently, I don't always dress conventionally. Um, I know right now tats and piercings are not a big deal in some churches, but in some churches they really are. And I think generally, even outside of church, there is some negative connotation around those things. In this day and age, it's shocking, but that's the thing. Um, I've had this other mama that kind of, I don't want to say she raised me, but I'm quite familiar with her, because I mean, I like her. She's good with my mom. And she says to me, she saw this for the first time. And you can imagine, like, I've had this for a long time because there was a time where I wasn't going to church, and so she sees it for the first time. She's like, "Now doesn't and I mean, like, when I say because I'm surrounded by people who, like my friends, I'm surrounded by people who are not, who don't judge a book by its cover, so to say. Like, people who know my heart and my mind, and like, so what if Ubongi has a nose ring? So what if Ubongi has a tattoo? So what if Ubongi braids in color? That's another thing, guys. You'll never catch me in black. I think that's one of the things that I really, really hated about where I used to work, because they were so formal. And I had to braid in black. And I was like, guys, this is not me. Like, the last time I braided in black was in high school, because obviously I was in high school, and my schools were pretty strict schools. They didn't let you see these artsy schools that most of our kids are in right now, where they get there and they have piercings, and I'm just like, is this a 14-year-old looking like this? We were like, they were strict with us. So I'm that girl. I'm very different, and um I think for the people who are in this church culture, because there's another culture of it, it's very, it's disturbing to them. But also, I know andelanga bona andelu yesu and stuff, but also, like, if I'm gonna find a church and learn about, okay, I actually don't fit in churches, I'll be wasting my time moving from, like, church to church. And I think it's just like, I'm gonna give myself the grace to, like, church hop if that's what's gonna happen. Hopefully I find a church where I feel like these are my people, it's my community. um but if I don't, I guess I don't know how this is gonna happen, because I really do believe in, I probably think I'll be a Sunday girl only, and not a go to the youth, I'll probably be a Sunday girl only. And there are churches that seem appealing to me, but yeah, that's that. um Emotionally, I think for the longest time I used to struggle with my emotions, and I can't say I'm a pro now, but I mean, you can't be a drama student and not tap into your emotions. Esasigoa oko efasitwe. Yo, sasikala oko, because one of, like, okay, let me put it this way. By me struggling with my emotions doesn't mean I never used to cry or whatever, but I think I really cared about how I was perceived. I think maybe this is where, because also I mentioned earlier that I am a feminist, and I'm realizing that as I grow, it kind of defines itself in different ways as well, right? So because I felt like, as a girl, yeah, let me make an example. When I was on my period, I never used to tell people that I was on my period, because not because of it's sacred, a girl shouldn't tell people. For me, it was like, already women are not being taken seriously. If I say I don't like the color of this room, I don't like the paint, you know, um, already it's like, oh, she's just being a girl, you know. So if I'm on my period, it's even worse, because they're gonna think, oh, she's emotional, you know. And I hated that Landaba emotional. We what we say is not valid, because it comes from a place of emotion. And so I used to never tell people that I was on my period. Um, Even at home, like, if my mom knew, I'd get annoyed. Like, ish. I was like, why must you know that I'm on my period? At home, my friends, um, it was my thing, because I wanted to be heard. If I said I do not appreciate intention, take it as that, because truth is, whether I'm on my period or not, I just don't like it. Ubongekile doesn't like it. Period. Um, and I never really liked crying in front of people. I really wanted to come across as this person who's kind of like, I've got my head in the game. I'm very logical, even if I am emotional about it, but I'm very right, so I think I used to battle a lot with like expressing my emotions and expressing, because I feared that if I did tell you that, you know I'm not feeling good today, you're gonna invalidate. If I say, yo, today I'm not feeling good, I'm just feeling down, you're kind of like, later on when we're watching Marked, and I say, but Yazzie, I don't appreciate um the way they wrote this episode. Like, why are Tebza and Baba Alwa looking at each other like this? Already you're thinking, ooh, but you're not gonna think of, oh, okay, Ubongi Vele, she's got her own views. Let's hear what she's got to say. The way in which she thinks, as a writer, how would she have gone about it? Please, by the way, I've got absolutely no problem with Marked. It's the first thing that came to my mind because I'm currently watching it. Um, but so emotionally, I used to have a problem. I used to have a problem of, maybe, I don't want to say trusting myself in my emotions. I don't mind lying to people, but I wouldn't lie to myself. So I don't think I had an issue with me and my emotions. I think I always knew how I was feeling, but it was just expressing, trusting someone else with my emotions. Because also, then what? What are you going to do after that? What are you going to say after that? Um, so that's that emotionally. But I think there has been a slight change. I think also emotionally, I've always been like a mother hen, um to my friends. Maybe not all of them, because like I said, people would know me differently, but I think, like, we'll get to it, but I should have known I would have been a mother, because like it's so in me, like I mother. And I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not, but I wouldn't mother my friends. I mother my friends. um if you're a girl and I'm a girl and we get along, trust you, I'm gonna big sister you slash mother you. um because I nurture, I care, I give the platform, I give the room for you to feel how you want to feel. I hear you out. I used to consider myself, like, I remember in high school, I used to think to myself, I think I'll be a life coach, I think I'll be a therapist, because I knew I was miles. Is that the right thing to say? But like, yeah, something like that, right? And not in an arrogant way, but like, just, I've always spent time with God. I've always spent time with myself. Um, and I'm not always perfect. I'm not always going to say the right things. That is why you should also consult with God now. But I honestly think that I'm the right person to talk to. I honestly think that I'll put you first when you come to me and you say, this is what I'm going through. I'm I believe in unpacking. Like, let's examine. Why do you feel this way? Why do you think this way? You know, I care about people. I want you to make the best choice for yourself. I want you to do something that will benefit you greatly. You know, that's me. Um, so I think I've always, because I don't have a problem with being real with me and how I feel. I've always I think, I don't know. I don't know how I was. I think I've had a strange relationship with emotions, because I'm realizing that I've always allowed people to be emotionally vulnerable with me, but I never wanted to be emotionally vulnerable with them. And I think I also, to a certain degree, didn't want to be emotionally vulnerable with me, with myself. But there's a whole lot, and there was COVID. I think COVID. I'll forever be mad at COVID. I don't think I'll forgive COVID. COVID troubled me emotionally, because really I was stuck in the house with, it was just me and my mom. And I never forget how really COVID just put a standstill to everything, because then the go away during COVID. So you can imagine being a trauma student where your emotions always need to be ready to be at play, at work, and it's COVID ngapa. And I have issues that I didn't think I had issues with, or COVID is annoying. I'll never forgive you, COVID. You owe me my youth. Because what the hell? You owe me a whole lot, COVID. So I think that as well, kind of like right now, emotionally, I'm at a place where I think I still am that way with my emotions. I still don't want you to know when I'm on my period. I still don't want you to know when I'm feeling sad or down. I still want to be seen and heard. But also, and like before, right now, I do understand that my emotions are my power. I, you know, as a woman, like what I'm meant to feel, and I feel, and so what, um, why does that discredit me, and why does it discredit what I've just put out there? um so yeah, that's that with my emotions. And right now I'm at a place where I'm not gonna lie, I think emotionally there's still a whole lot of homework that I need to do, because also I've realized that I'm quite needy. I think even with my boyfriend, I think that's something I was communicating with him the other day, to say I am needy. I'm very clingy. And Mfuni Umdu, who's gonna make me feel like trash for being that way. You understand? We weren't fighting. Just, that's just the person I am. So if you're my boyfriend, if you're my friend, if you're someone in my space and you claim to care for me, when I call for you emotionally, if I say, if I bring, because here's the thing, guys, I'm an only child. So I'm used to dealing with things alone. And only now am I tapping into, there are a whole lot of things that I'm doing on my own, and I love that I'm able to sustain myself and be independent. But how much of it do I actually want for my Ibenjalo? It's not nice to. I don't know who I was telling. I was saying, I feel like Umdu who asks people to zip their dress up are very spoiled. My babe, I've always zipped my dress up. You get what I'm saying? And like I envy people who are able to just be emotionally vulnerable whenever. I envy people who are able to just ask for people to zip their dresses up. There's this other girl I was saying, yo, and I'm not your boyfriend, because she was asking me for everything. And I'm realizing she's always had that carefreeness where the people in her space have always asked her, she's been able to ask rather the people in her space for and they've allowed her, they've given her that platform. I can't say the same for me. And like it's challenging. And I think another thing is, recently I was thinking to myself, bah, even with all the friends I've had, and like, because I am still able to feel alone being surrounded by many friends. I sometimes still feel alone, like, why am I feeling alone? Do they even care about me? That is where the deleting of number deleting of numbers. I'm just like, I always feel like I'm the proactive friend. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'll check on you. Like, I don't need a reason to check on you. I don't need to wait for an event. I'll check on you, only to find that you are going through something, and I'll go through with it with you. Or you're not going through something and I'm happy for you. Let's go through nice things together. But I find that people hardly do that for me, and I still feel alone. And I think that's something I'm battling with, where I feel alone even when I have people. And I think the other day I sat myself down and I was like, I think that's simply because other people have the ability to say, okay, you know what? I'm not feeling good right now. Let me call Ubongi. And they call me and we go through the feels together. Whereas with me, if I'm going through something, I never have that mind of, let me call Uzmanman. I will go through it. And whilst going through it, I'm like, why doesn't she know that I'm going? It's like I sort of want people to kind of know that I'm going through something, which in turn is a bit unfair, because how are they supposed to know if I don't tell them? But my chat is, they would have never needed to tell me, because really I'm a proactive and present friend. I'll check on you, you know? So those are things that emotionally I'm all over the place. Sometimes I feel like I've got a hang of things. Sometimes I feel like, oh no, I'm even even with everything that I've grown and gone through emotionally, I'm still battling to grasp some things, you know. It's not easy there by the emotions. It's not easy at all. Um and yeah, I think yeah, some days are better than others, but what I do love about myself is that emotionally I'm able to like I said, I have a whole lot of conversations with myself. I pray a lot, I reflect a lot. I spend a whole lot of time with myself. So I am able to articulate what it is that I'm feeling. And sometimes when I have issues with things, I'm like, this is not what you really have an issue with. What's the underlying thing? What do you really, really, really have an issue with? You know? So, yeah, emotionally, there's that. There's a whole lot of room for growth as well. But no, I'm not. You know, bakhona abantu babona ba emotionally low, they haven't done any work on themselves. Yeah, I'm not that person. I think I am emotionally intelligent, but like I said, there's always room for growth. Um, I'm not afraid of emotions, also, I think. So yeah, that's that. Um, oh, girl, child, I've had to do a whole lot of work mentally. Um, yeah, because also like this is not a special story or anything. I think like most people, we've all gone through dark times. I I think it was only after high school that I realized that damn, in high school I was actually a depressed kid. I was actually a depressed kid. Um, I was in a dark space, a very very dark space. Um, yeah, I don't even think I want to tap into that right now, but I was in a very dark space. Um, thank God for the friends that I did have. Literally, like when I went to school for my friends, not even my academics. That should tell you how bad my academics were. Um, yeah, I was at some point I was going for my friends. Like I realized, man, no man, the only reason I'm going to school is because I know I'm gonna see Mang Mang, and we'll talk about this. So I know I'm gonna see Mang Mang, and we'll do this. Um, yeah, but high school, there was just a whole lot. I think it's because of my life, how I grew up, the circumstances. Um, yeah, there was just a whole lot happening during my high school years that I don't like to, tap into. But I think overall, I just was an unhappy kid. I was just surviving, but I was a depressed kid. Um, I couldn't wait for life to be better. And I think, um, yeah, because of that, obviously, you know, I, I can't really say how I viewed myself was a great I can't say I really viewed myself in a great way. So yeah, I'm just happy high school's over. When everyone's just like, oh my god, I wish I could go back to my high school days. I'm just like, yeah, wait, I'm just like, hi, I'm not going back to my high school days because they were the shittiest. And I don't think I'd want to. I probably would I would redo life before high school, but high school, I think, yeah, no. In fact, I wouldn't even do life before high school because I'm just like, like, my life was not the easiest. And I mean, like, I think this is a conversation I wouldn't even dream of having with family because I think for family, when you when you complain about life, they always think on a financial level, right? Like, hey, boy, I'm taking you to school, you're dressed, you're eating, I didn't have this when I was growing up. So what's your problem? So I don't dream of having this conversation because also if we're being for real, um I think another thing is with family. I don't think adults understand that their actions, what they do, what they don't do, affects you. Um, and like if I were to unpack the reasons why probably wasn't feeling good or doing good, had to do directly with decisions, zabantu abadala, you know. Um, and that's that. But I'm not there anymore. So mentally, what I'm trying to say is, I feel like I had to do a whole lot of homework on myself. And I envy girlies who didn't have to go through that. Guys, okay, I use envy in the most possible way. Oh gosh. Since like ngiyayithanda lento. When I see women who have never gone through depression, who don't have issues with anxiety, it's like, girl, life has been so good to you, and I love that for you, you know, because some of us have had to fight. I think that's another thing that's annoying me, where I'm like, Lord, I'm not your soldier. I don't want to be your soldier. I'm sick and tired of having to fight for everything, because I feel like I've had to fight for everything. I feel like I'm still fighting, and I don't want that. You know, I hate that I had to fight. I had to fight to see life differently. I had to fight to have a healthy relationship with God. I had to fight to have a healthy relationship with myself. I'm still fighting. I had to fight for everything. And I'm so tired of that, you know? Um, but yeah, yeah. So it's like I had to fight, man. I had to fight to believe that my dreams are valid and they can come true. I had to fight to love the color of my skin, because also I was bullied a lot. And I don't even want to get into it, you know, but I was bullied a lot. I had to fight to love the color of my skin. I had to fight to love my hair. I had to fight to love my body. Um, you know, because also the world we grew up in. And this is something also because I'm a mom right now, right? And I think there's a whole lot that hurts us, that people think they're doing well or okay. And like there was this person who was saying, and she's also my mom's friend, right? I have no problem with that lady. I like her. Um, and she says to me this one time, "Yo, hey, akasemhle umntanakho, akasemhle umntanakho. Azomhloka gqitha wena." And I at that moment I was like, "Ah, yeah," right? So my baby does not look like me. Cool. I don't mind that. But now I don't want you to be planting things of my baby's prettier than me, because now you are planting the seed of, now my baby has to care about who's prettier than who's smarter than who. And I don't want that. Like that thing annoyed me to the core, but we're not there right now, right? So can we not fight? So yeah, that's that. I feel like mentally there's a whole lot that I had to fight for. But if like we're gonna take 25-year-old me and 15-year-old me, there's a whole lot of difference. Okay. Okay. Like I'm at a great place. Like I don't have everything that I want in my life yet. But I'm at a great place. Like I'm at a great place. Like I don't think you can, there's nothing that you can say or do to me that will shake me. Okay, it may shake me, but I'll stay grounded and anchored. Um I love I I love my life, and I'm learning to romanticize my life. I love who I am. I love who I've become. I love who I'm becoming. I love how I look. I love me. I love all the things about myself that even seem like that the next person won't care. I pay attention to myself. I show myself some love. I really feel like I'm at a great place mentally or psychologically. I'm a mother. Okay. Maybe we should end with that because that one is a lot. Physically, let's talk about what it means being a woman physically. Oh, girl. I look at black women. I was watching again recently. Um, not me forgetting the name of the movie, but it had Cesar and Kiki Palmer. And I looked at those ladies, I'm like, hey, but black women are gorgeous. Hey, Ravenya Venya, I'm a Venya 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 Zela. If you're not on TikTok, what are you doing with your life? Don't annoy me, right? But I was looking at those ladies, I'm just like, they're so gorgeous. Those hands are so gorgeous. And just generally, women are gorgeous beings. And I think back then I also used to be annoyed at how women were just, I think to a certain degree it does, but now I'm realizing that there's nothing wrong with admiring a woman, right? I have a problem if you admire a woman for just her beauty only, all right? Excuse me. Like, I have a problem if you're gonna admire me for my beauty only. Like I said earlier, like I am a whole lot. I'm a complex being. I'm a complicated human being. How I view the world, how I view life is not just, you know, if you're gonna admire me, baby girl, baby boy, admire everything about me, the entire package. Not just now, oh, Bongi's so pretty. Oh, now Bongi's got pretty hair. You know, I mean, gosh, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate those kind of things, you know what I'm saying? But like, there's so much more to me. If that's the only thing you're gonna see me for or see me as, we're gonna have a problem, right? And back then, I used to have a problem with how women are just, I think to a certain degree, that's still a thing. People are still having trophy wives or whatever. People, boys, I don't want to call them men, boys are still choosing partners based on what their friends will think about that girl. Is she pretty enough? Does she have a big booty? Um, does she have dimples? Does she have silky hair? You know, I've guys, pick Motu Omuratang. It's saying someone that you feel like you'll get validated for if you're seen with that person. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of my challenges where I feel like, but back then also because I didn't feel pretty or didn't think I was pretty, I had issues with accepting compliments to a certain degree. I think I still do because I feel like you're lying to me. I know I'm pretty, I can tell myself I'm pretty, but when it comes from you, it's um like, what do you want? What do you want from me now? Tell me now, and then like, let's see if I can give it to you or not. Like, what do you want from me, right? So that's that. um so yeah, I that's that. Also, guys, you can't fall pregnant and give birth and not see your body in a different light. You guys should see how chubby my baby is. It's so amazing that that chubby baby, like, that baby used to eat what I would eat. That baby used to drink what I would drink. And it's like, I carried that person. I gave life to someone. It's, pregnancy is, it's crazy because I remember when I was in high school, I was like, this is disgusting. Pregnancy is disgusting. This thing eats what you eat. It drinks what you drink. Disgusting. And it grows inside of you. It's a parasite. It's basically a parasite. And I mean, to a certain degree, you could view it that way. But for me, it's like, this is nothing short of a miracle. You know, carrying someone for 9 months, feeding that person, and like being a home for that person until they're ready to come out and join us. That is crazy. I do understand how women can die during childbirth. Um, but yeah, okay, before we even talk about my pregnancy in relation to my body, just, I've always, here's the thing with the gym. I have a problem with the gym or working out because I was telling this other girl just the other day to say, you'll never catch me at the gym. And I think maybe in the future, but currently, I've never heard someone say, oh my God, I love my body so much. I want to go to the gym to take care of it. It's always, I'm going to the gym because there's something wrong with me. I need to lose weight, or I need to gain weight, or I need to build muscle, or something. And for me, it's like, why are we trying so much to alter what we have been gifted with? You know, miss me. Miss me, give me zero. Give me zero at the gym. So I think also I've had, physically, when I think about health, the more I advance in years up in Mhlabeni, I become really grateful to God, because it's like I've never really been a sick person. I've never really been that person ongena phuma esibhedlele. Yes, obviously, I mean, we all have flus here and there. We all have those moments here and there where we had things in our life. But like, I'm not a sickly person. Um, I'm healthy. I'm a healthy girl, and I've got one of those bodies that, like, people ask me, "Are you sure you gave birth?" Because I don't gain unnecessary weight. I've got a great body. Got a great body. Um, just the right amount of everything in the right places. I've got a great body. I've never really had to work for this body. My tummy went really flat, really, like, it was not stretched out. Um, I eat as much as I want. I want to put it out there. I love food. I eat a lot, and I don't even worry about. And ndinguyela girl ba if nditya kakhulu i-genes zam ayizingena, like, andinguyela girl, and I'm very grateful for that. You know, also I wanna flex. Like, this is something that's gonna sound really weird, guys, but it's my reality. Yeah, but when it comes to periods, andifane ndibe ngumntu obane cramps during my period. I think it's a recent thing, but for most of it, I would go on my period when I'm not on my period. Because it cramps that they are not. My thing is probably, I'm looking at the times, probably the last thing we'll talk about. We'll resume. Because, hi, babe. Yes. What you guys are having? We'll talk about myself physically in relation to my pregnancy from the next video. But with my periods, I've never really had issues with cramps and stuff. I've never really been one to like faint. I've never really been one to get sick. I think also I started realizing how fortunate I am during varsity, because I would have friends who would not come to school when they were on their period because they would get sick. Like, if they're not vomiting, they're fainting, and all of that and all of that. I'm like, what? You know? Um, I can go on with life as though I'm not on my period, so to say. Um, you know, so I'm very grateful for that. Right now, what I do notice is that I will have cramps before my periods just to warn me that I'm gonna go on my period. So it's like, oh, congrats the date. Oh, okay. Hence, I have these cramps. I'm gonna go on my period. But during my period, no cramps whatsoever. And also, I'm also not the type to go on my period for the entire week. That's another flex. Because what do you mean you guys go on for 7, 8, 9 days? That's an entire week going to two, you know? So I just really feel like God's favorite child. I feel like a princess when it comes to my period. And you're not ready for this one. As regular as regular as my periods are, and in as much as I know the dates in which I got my periods, or my period rather, I feel like I don't know how it happens, but I feel like God will say, okay, Obongi's got plans on a particular weekend. And then my period will come a week or two before that. And then on that weekend, gay girlfriend, like I've got no stress, zip periods and stuff. Like I know it happened. I think I started noticing these things like uh okay. I don't know if I should continue or what, because now space, you know the struggle with space. But I started noticing this in like in grade 12. In grade 12, on my matric dance, my matric dance was around the dates of my period, I think. And I went on my period a week or two before, right? I remember there was this lady who was gonna get married a year later. She was gonna get married, and I was her bridesmaid. I was like the choreographer of the wedding routines, and yes, I was a choreographer, guys. Mbukeni, mbukeni. I was the choreographer, and I was one of the bridesmaids. And her date was definitely around my period dates, and I got my period a week or two before. Um, and so what I'm trying to say is I feel like God, especially in the things that I would maybe consider big or I need to show up, my periods will definitely come before. Like just now. Ne. Nizothi nginamanga, but I need to be somewhere um on a certain date. I also need to be enjoying my birthday on a certain date. I've already gone on my period. Small. So I mean basically what I'm trying to say is I'm God's favorite when it comes to certain things. So yeah, that's pretty much that. We will unpack a whole lot of more things, guys, because also physically there's a whole lot I could talk about. Because I realized, yes, I could talk about physically my period, um, but yeah, I honestly don't like the whole chat of women needing to work to look a certain type of way. But we'll tap into that some more on my next video. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. What else? Yeah, love and lights, guys. Peace out. Do people still say peace out? Yeah, you guys. Yeah, bye. Next time. Until next time. See you next time. I'm a benye, benye. I a benye,